that is definitely a better job for the skid steer, but right now the skid steer is still getting repaired, so I just wanted to get it leveled out a little bit because today is March 6th, 2024, and it's time to get going over on this new 60, in particular the new 50, the tillable acres on this ground. It's time for us to get seed in the ground, to get some cover on the ground, more cover than just this bean stubble and corn residue from a couple years ago. So what I want to do today is I want to kind of take you around. I want to tell you what our plan was previously as to how we were going to go about this and what I think our plan is now. And of course, as always, comments down below. Let me know what you think we should be doing. I'll get this posted right away, hopefully, and then, you know, it'll be still time for you to fix all the mistakes that I have. I thought this spot right here was a great place to start because this is actually the worst soil on our ground. I don't know if you can tell right now. Of course, we're really dry. The soil is really clay, sandy, fine, not much. On the soil test we had done, it was a pH of about 6.1, an organic matter of 1.6%. It was low on phosphorus, it was high on magnesium, and really low calcium, everything else. My buddy Jordan from Grade A Gardens, he's kind of my soil guru that, you know, because he studies the soil gurus. He's been asking me, are there at least weeds growing on your place right now? And this was also a good spot because this is one of the few spots where I could find a weed. This is all really we have growing right now on this farm are just little pockets like this. In fact, as I look around here, I can't really find another good example other than that one. At the Practical Farmers of Iowa conference this winter, I talked to Keith Burns. He's from Green Cover. I think it's just greencover.com. They have the Smart Mix cover crops calculator. Pretty great company, pretty great guy. But I talked to him at his booth at the Practical Farmers of Iowa conference, and he was also the keynote speaker this year. What he suggested was to come in with a no-till drill, hit this compacted soil with some oats and some peas, something that I could graze. Then we would graze those, mow those, chop those, whatever it was, get them off by the end of June. At the end of June, no-till in another crop, this time a warm season mix of annuals, things like forage sorghum and forage corn, just a wide variety, 6 or 7, 8 varieties of something that, again, we would graze, we would chop, we would bale, whatever it takes. And then finally in the fall, maybe do a light tillage pass to even out this soil because it's pretty rough from being farmed the way that it was farmed, and then plant our perennial pastures in the fall. The problem with that plan, well, a couple things with that plan. One, it took us out of the running for something that we were really interested in. That's the NRCS Equip program. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And the no-till drill was harder to track down than I expected. If you've looked on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or farm auctions or anything like that for a decent, ready-to-go no-till drill, we're talking quite a bit of money, and with 3 seedings, having it custom done, it was going to add up a pretty big expense too. So now we're on to plan B, and I want to lay this out. Tell me what you think of it. This plan actually has quite a few more steps in it than the original plan, so let me just list them down to you one at a time. Step number 1 is to come in with a disc and just chop things up as lightly as I can. Now I know I was talking no-till before, but as I mentioned, I just don't have the drill. So come in with the disc, maybe 4-5 inches down, disc this up, then come back and broadcast on this. Again, it's not a drill, it's not as good, but it's something. Broadcast peas, broadcast oats, broadcast turnips, some sort of thing that's going to get down into the soil, create some roots, open up some air and pockets for water to get down, and most importantly, get some cover on this soil so it doesn't blow away in this dry spring. Step number 2, and what I'm hoping step number 1 does, is buy us some time. Check out this cool rock that I found. But I hope that step number 1 buys us some time to repair a local neighborhood no-till drill. Then we can come in late June, like we had talked about already. Wait, maybe it's early June, like we had talked about already, or like I had meant to talk about already. And that's when we'll come in, when the soil's really warm. with this warm season cover crop, like a 6 or 7 or 8-way mix of things that we can graze. Step number 3, of course, is next, and step number 3 is where I deviate from the previous plan, and actually I just kind of make it up right now because I don't have a clear idea of what step number 3 looks like. But what I was thinking is coming in the fall and no-tilling in a winter cover crop, some rye. I don't know if there's anything else that will overwinter, but the idea is to have something that will start itself in the spring. Now we're into 2026. Oh yeah, I just wanted to point this out. I kind of love this spot. Now actually there is a ton of overgrowth like this right here. This stuff, it needs to go, but what this shows me in my mind is what this property can become like. We can have grasses like this, and we can have them over this entire property. We can be feeding stockpiled forage, all of that good stuff. So it's really exciting back there. And also, I hear these honeysuckle, is that what these things are? Honey locust. I hear these honey locust pods are good animal feed, and it looks like the deer have been enjoying them in this area. So probably true. Step number 4 actually is just a repeat of step number 2. Come in here summer, early June of 2025 and plant a big, 6, 7, 8 species cover crop mix, graze it again, build the soils, and then prepare for step number 5, which of course is to plant perennial pastures in this bare ground, or at least what now is bare ground, and turn it into multi-species grazing, chickens, cattle, lambs. By the way, this is the best piece of ground. Of course, organic matter is still low. Of course, the pH is still way off, but it was better than the rest of the ground. It's kind of interesting, just a little aside here, as I come over here to what I just told you was the best ground, I'm seeing lots and lots more weeds growing. So why did we go from a 1-year plan to a 3-year plan that's, to be completely honest, going to cost more money? In fact, the neighbors, they like the idea of what I'm doing, but they don't know how I'm going to pay for it, or better yet, how I'm going to make the land pay for that project. The first reason that we're kind of slowing it down and spreading it out is soil health. As I mentioned multiple times already, the soil is not great on this farm as we kind of look across it, and so I want to do as much as we can to build the soil health on this farm. I think having those annuals, having something covering the ground all the time, and then also giving the perennial pastures when we plant those seeds the best opportunity to grow, I think that will be a huge help. There's more reasons that maybe are more practical though, that we're changing the way we're deciding to go about this. Practical reason number 1 is that no-till drill. I mentioned I had a hard time finding one. There is somebody in the neighborhood that I could hire, I believe, to do some no-till drilling for me, but the custom rates, especially even if we only did it 3 times, they would add up quite a bit on top of the seed. I just wasn't sure that I would be able to swing that this year, so allowing us to take some time to repair a drill, hopefully, and then use the equipment that we already have, or that my family already has, like a disc and a harrow and a cultipacker, to put this first crop in. I think that's going to be the best way to go for us at this moment. Although, something could change in the next 2 days. Potentially one of the biggest reasons that we're kind of extending the project, making it a little longer, is because of things like this. This is our exterior fence, or, what is left of our exterior fence. In some places, this fence is up and it'll hold animals in. In other places, this fence is, well, like it is here, about 4 feet from where the posts are. We might be able to pick some of it up and put it back up, but the reality is we're going to have to put more fencing in. That is where the EQIP program comes in. EQIP, of course, stands for Environmental Quality Incentives Program, and that comes through the NRCS. Don't ask me what that stands for, Natural Resource Conservation Service or something like that. But the programs that we are particularly interested in through the EQIP program are ones that are associated with transitioning row crop ground to grazing. And they help with things like fence, which we don't have much of, if not none of. Water, which we have absolutely none of. Perennial pasture, again, we don't have any of that. So by extending this project out, because EQIP has a sign-up period for their cost share programs, we will be able to jump in and work with their grazing specialists and their program specialists and have some help, not just financial help, but what I think we really are hoping for and thankful for is we're going to have help with making a plan and implementing that plan on our farm. Now, I would be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't nervous or a little bit worried or concerned or doubtful about this. There are a ton of factors that are going to go into whether this is a successful project or an unsuccessful project. Factors that we have control over or I have control over, and then factors that I don't have control over, like we're starting with soil that is what it is, and we have to rely on rain coming from above. So many things that every farmer has to deal with, and so those all, well, they create concerns. But I think we have some good help on our side, and I think that that help will push us over the line of success. Of course, when I'm talking about help, I'm talking about help coming from all sorts of different directions. Number one, of course, is my immediate family, my wife and my kids. We're all in on this piece of ground. We want to see it succeed. We want to see it help grow the farm. And then beyond my wife and kids, we have extended family that I know are going to be here with us this whole process. And of course, one of the great things we have going for us is that we are at least a semi-established farm. We're not trying to create this piece of ground and turn it into something and create a market at the same time. We have great customers, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that we're going to be depending on them a ton, because this is going to cost money. No matter how much help we get from the NRCS, if we decide to go down that path or different programs or grants, there's a lot of money that's going to be coming out of our pockets in order to rejuvenate, reinvigorate, rebuild, do something with this soil, put in grass, bring on livestock, all of those things. And the best way that we can pay for that is to keep doing what we're doing and keep providing meat for our great farm friends. That's what I call our customers. And beyond our family and our farm friends, we're going to be tapping into a ton of other help. Help like generational farmers in our neighborhood. We have the NRCS, as I mentioned. They have grazing specialists and forestry specialists, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do what has to be done to get this farm and really this soil to where it needs to be, because in the end, that's what we're doing. We're farming this soil, we're farming the grass, we're building something, a legacy that we know will last for generations, whether it's in our family or another family. So I hope you guys come along for the ride. I hope you bring suggestions to us, whatever ideas you have. Boy, we need ideas, we need help. Thank you so much for watching, wherever you are and whenever it is.